Hey guys, Pro1701 here, and today we are going to talk about the Series 4 episode Midnight, starring David Tennant as the 10th Doctor. Now, let me say that Midnight is objectively a very good episode. David Tennant is really good in this story. All of the guest actors are really good in this story, especially the actress that plays Sky, I think her name is, the one that gets possessed. She's really good in this story. It has David Troughton in it, which I love. Not only is he Patrick Troughton's son, but he is also a classic Who alumni in his own right, having appeared as the King in The Curse of Peladon, and I believe he was in another one as well. So I think it's well directed. I think it's well written. The use of camera angles and lighting is superb. That being said, I hate this story. I hate it. I don't mean I dislike it or I'm not too keen on it. I mean I hate it. I can't stand it. I will never watch it again. I've only watched it twice. I'll never watch it again. I hate this story. Just to make that clear. I'm going to talk about basically 5 reasons why I hate Midnight, despite the fact it's objectively good. Because most people, if they just disliking an episode is one thing. Most people who hate an episode have subjective and objective reasons why they hate it. This is one that I will admit is objectively well made that I just utterly can't stand personally. That's why I don't say I think Midnight sucks, because I don't. I just say I hate it, because I do. And I have 5 reasons that kind of all interconnect together for why I don't like this story. And the first one is, I think it has the wrong Doctor in it. I don't think this is a good story for the 10th Doctor. Nothing against Tennant. Tennant is fine in this acting wise. I just don't think it works with the 10th Doctor. I think it would work better with more of the serious grumpy type doctors, or like say Capaldi or Colin Baker or William Hartnell or even John. I think would work here better. Personally, if I could pick, I think Capaldi would work best, especially Series 8 or Series 9 Capaldi. I think would be perfect for this story. Because his Doctor, especially in Series 8 and 9, especially in Series 8, is very serious, very grumpy, angry, I'm smarter than everybody else in the room attitude. In his defense, 99% of the time he is right, and he is the smartest person in the room. Very much calling everybody the pudding brains and thinking they're beneath him. So this really would be a nice, humbling event for him to see him not in control. Because this Doctor very much likes to be in control of the situation. And seeing him trying to figure out what's going on, seeing the gears turning for him, and then ultimately when Sky, I'm going to call her Sky, I don't remember her name, but the one that gets possessed, when she gets taken over and he starts mimicking her, seeing him lose control, seeing Capaldi, the 12th Doctor, lose control, not only lose control of the situation, but even lose control of his own body, his own speech, and just becoming a slave pretty much to echoing her at that point. I think that would be a nice spin on his Doctor, and it really gripping for his Doctor, and would be, I think, a great stepping stone in the emotional growth of his Doctor as a character, and would have been a great stepping stone point for him turning into more the Doctor we see in Series 10, and even toward the end of Series 9, but especially in Series 10 when he's a lot more lighthearted, because his Doctor really does have an arc where he grows emotionally over the course of his run, and this could have been a great pivotal step towards that. So I would have much loved to have seen this in, say, Series 8 or Series 9. It would have fit perfectly. This leads me into my next point, which is reason number 2. If this had taken place with Capaldi, like I want, in Series 8 or Series 9, that meant the companion would have been Clara. And this episode is very companion-light. We don't get a lot of Donna in this episode. She's only kind of really at the beginning, really at the end. So in Series 8 or Series 9, there would have been less Clara. I'm always a huge fan of less Capaldi-era Clara, because I hate Clara. Oh my God. Capaldi-era Clara is my least favorite companion ever, 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 ever. I cannot stand her as a companion. And it's not anything against Jenna. Jenna is a great actress, and I actually like Clara with Matt, especially the Asylum of the Daleks version of her and the Victorian version of her from the Snowmen, and even the modern Clara with Matt, I think works pretty well. I don't like the way she's written for Capaldi. I can't stand her. So I could have had a good episode for Capaldi's Doctor with very little Clara in it. I would have loved that. I would pay money for that. If they literally went back and did like a special edition of Midnight, but edited in Capaldi and Clara, I would probably like Midnight, because it would be a Capaldi episode with very little Clara. And that leads me to my third point, which is because it's in Series 4 and Donna's the companion, we don't get a lot of Donna. And less Donna is a bad thing. I love Donna. She is such a good companion. When I did my top 10 ranking list of companions, she was up there. She's like number 2, number 3. She's really high. She's my favorite modern series companion. She is so good. There's a reason why Series 4 is held to such high esteem and oftentimes is cited as like the best series of the modern series. And a lot of that is because of Donna and the 10th Doctor together and the way they interact. So having more Donna is a good thing. She's a great companion. We already don't get enough of Donna. We really just get Runaway Bride in Series 4. And for the most part, that's it. And so having this episode in Series 4 gives us less Donna. And that sucks. Again, that plays into the part of Midnight came too early, which is its main problem. This ties into reason number 4, which is the 10th Doctor and Donna together. Because Catherine Tate and David Tennant have such good chemistry together. And because of that, the 10th Doctor and Donna have such good chemistry together. It's so much fun to watch them on screen together. And this is a story where we don't get that. We don't get the dynamic like we do in so many episodes. Because that's so much of what's fun about Series 4. All the little interactions they have. Like, I love how everybody keeps thinking they're a couple and they're not. No, we're not together. We're not. Or in the very first episode when they run back into each other again, which I can't remember the name of, when the fat just walks away. When they first see each other and they can't communicate, when they can't talk, when she's at the door with the hole in it and he's at the window and they're just signaling to each other and she's over there and he's just like, That's hilarious. That's fantastic. And it's down to these two working so well together as actors and as characters. I love, even in episodes like Unicorn and the Wasp, this is a story that, much like Crimson Horror, which I've said I like Crimson Horror a lot because it doesn't take itself too seriously. It's a lot of fun. The Unicorn and the Wasp is the same way. I like it because it doesn't take itself too seriously. It's silly and fun. That is a story that, in the wrong hands and with other doctors and companions, it might not have worked. But since it's the Doctor and Donna, the 10th Doctor and Donna, it works. It's a fun episode. I really like the Unicorn and the Wasp. The scene when he's poisoned and he's trying to get the cure for it, you know, and she's trying to guess that word he's trying to say, and she comes up with, I forget what it is, and he's repeating it back to her like, what? And then, you know, he's like, I need something to surprise me, so she kisses him. That scene is hilarious. They are so good together, comedically, and even when they're serious, like the Pompey scene, which when he's, you know, just save someone, save anyone, you know, they just work so well together. And this, because of this episode being here, that's another story where we lose out on seeing the Doctor and Donna together. It's another reason why I don't like Turn Left either. I'll do another video on that sometime, but I really don't like Turn Left very much. It's a great story for Donna, and it's a really good story for building her character and her character growing. But it doesn't have the Doctor and Donna interacting in it, which we already don't get enough of over the course of her run. So that's really two stories this season that we don't get the Doctor-Donna dynamic that I love and so many other people love. And that's, I think, why both of those episodes fail, ultimately. And that brings me to point 5, which I'm having to stop and remember what the heck is. Come on. What was it? There's another point. I've rehearsed this thing like 3 times, and I can't remember what it is. Nah, of course. Oh, man. I don't remember. I have one other reason, and I can't remember it. I didn't think I'd have to write it down because I went over this thing in my head so many times. But there's another reason that it will occur to me as soon as I finish this. Why I can't stand this story. It came too early. The main point of all of them is that the episode just came too soon. It needed to come a few years later, a few seasons later. I would have loved Midnight if it had come out, say, in season 8, season 9. That would be the perfect spot for it, I think. It would be great for Capaldi. It would be great for not having much Clara. But as it is, it just hurts coming out in series 4. It takes away, the things that I think make series 4 great, which is the 10th Doctor and Donna. And, well, Donna just herself and the 10th Doctor and Donna, the way they interact. And another thing about this one, I guess this will be my point 5. This wasn't it, but it'll work too, is the Doctor loses, really. He has to be saved by somebody else. That actress also does a good job in this. But, I mean, he loses. He fails. That's why anytime people tell me that their favorite 10th Doctor episode is Midnight, or their favorite modern series episode is Midnight, I always kind of cock my head to the side like, huh? Why? He loses. Your favorite episode is where he loses? And you could say, well, he does technically win. I'm like, yeah, it's because somebody else saves his butt. It's like winning the Super Bowl, but only winning because you were losing, but the referee's a huge fan of yours. So right at the end of the game, he starts throwing all the flags in your favor just so you can win. That's pretty much how this is. He wins because somebody else helps him. And I'm not a big fan of just when the Doctor just fails this spectacularly, because I like when the Doctor's the hero. I don't like the Doctor having to be rescued and saved. I don't care for that. To me, the Doctor's the guy. Much like Classic Who. You wouldn't have seen Tom Baker stuck in this situation, I guarantee you. And I like Tennant a lot too, so I hate seeing his Doctor having to be bailed out like that. That really bothers me personally. And while I don't dislike Capaldi, he's more kind of in the middle of my list, I wouldn't have been quite as upset about him being in that situation. Matter of fact, as arrogant as his Doctor was early on, because I really don't like Series 8 Capaldi much, I would have loved it to be like, yeah, maybe that'll humble you a little bit. So that might have worked much better there too. So what do you think of Midnight? I mean, just as is, do you like it? Do you not like it? Because I found out I'm not the only one that dislikes Midnight. Midnight's one of those stories where people either love it or they hate it. I never seem to see anybody in the middle on this one. People either can't stand it, and I've met other people who can't stand it, or else they love it, which is fine. I don't mind people who love the story. I mind when people try to tell me it's the best Tennant story out there. It's I'm very big on people respecting other people's opinions, but when somebody tries to tell me this is the best episode of Modern Who, my response is always, you're stupid. That's one of the very few times I will actually just be flabbergasted and can't not be able to understand why. But yeah, that's my thoughts. What do you think of this? What do you think Midnight would have worked good as a Capaldi story? How would you have liked that? And the fact it would have had less Clara in it. Tell me your thoughts, comment down below. I always like interacting with you guys. Big question, which Doctor would you have liked to have seen in Midnight? Would you like to have seen Midnight come out maybe in their era? Anyway, other things to do, click the like button, click the bell for notifications, click the subscribe button. Most importantly though, can't talk today. I've also started a Patreon if you're interested. There's a link to that down below if you want to contribute to my page, and kind of helps me steer the channel with polls and video requests and stuff like that. Most importantly though, stay safe out there. Thank you for watching.